And we are live and direct today with a room full of really awesome WYEP members. And the main attraction, Cordovas, who are playing a show at Club Cafe tonight. We're going to talk all about what they've been up to. But first, guys, how about a tune? We are live and direct today with the band Cordovas performing at Club Cafe this evening. So you guys have found yourself here on a pretty cosmic day. We've got this whole eclipse.
What's going on?
If you haven't heard, the moon is going to overtake the sun today, and there will be darkness forever. Do you feel that? You know, do things like that affect the way...
To do this job, Joey, you have to always feel that.
Okay. I think it's true. I mean, what is something like that be in the back of your minds as you're approaching a show? Like, I've seen you guys live a few times. There's no doubt that you're Dead fans. So, like, maybe a Dark Star tonight.
I'm glad you picked an easy one, but it is the appropriate one. And Total Eclipse of the Heart we crossed that off the list last night at dinner. Although we all know that one already. And then, that left us with Pink Floyd. And, we're Mormons, so we couldn't do that. And then, whoa, it was very weird. Mm-hmm. We have a song called Angel Moon, which we thought we'd be able to handle.
So you guys are on the road again, or maybe you never really left the road. When's the last time you've been home to kind of like put Cordovas down for a minute?
We've been out pretty much solid the whole year. I mean, but we do dip in and out of Nashville for a few days here and there, but mostly touring.
Moving to Nashville because it's so central was it allowed us, like you said, to dip in and out. But I don't remember not being on tour, since I was a baby.
Yeah. And obviously, these days touring is the best way, from what I understand, for a band to thrive, to make money. But it also feels like you guys are just really into it. Like you're getting more than a paycheck out of touring so much.
We actually aren't getting a paycheck. So what you are witnessing here is pure, we are completely working for free. I'm not lying. It hardly covers the cost. We stay at the Ritz every night, of course. I'm just kidding. We sleep. I mean, I'm not lying. These guys sleep on the floor. I mean, we trade off the floor every night. It's one hotel room for 5 people. Nobody makes money. But and furthermore, isn't that like just some kind of result of it all anyway? Like that's not what we're doing it for. And I expect if we do it well, that'll take care of itself.
And it has. I mean, you've built these little home bases around the country. You're based in Nashville. You've got this whole other life in Mexico, which I'd like to talk about in a little bit. And I know here in Pittsburgh, you could find any number of couches or beds to call your own tonight. So what is home for you? Is it just a concept at this point, or is it when you're making music, that's home?
I think I've heard it said that the artist is at home everywhere. And, I heard that when I was a little kid, but I wanted to believe that, and I tried to implement that in my adult life. You know what I mean? That really is it seems maybe more complex than it is. Just feel at home, because the artist's supposed to be surveying everything and taking it all in, writing a song, making a note, go telling a little melody that he had to his friend. We're always around each other. If we don't use each other to learn from, that is neglectful. And
it turns out now you have a big following in Sweden. How did all that come about?
Well, we were.
Or do they just have like an insatiable desire for smoky Americana music over there?
He's the most Swedish of us.
Yeah, I'm from Sweden, actually. No, there's this Swedish dude named Bjorn, and he hooked us up with this incredible tour.
It's not a joke.
It's not a joke. His name's Bjorn, and he hooked us up with an incredible tour, and we were very fortunate to be out there, and it was very hospitable.
Our van blew up. I was hammering it because the Swedes don't drive fast, and I was like, okay, I'm going around to everybody all month. Like, I'm from North Carolina, but like I thought I was Richard Petty. And remember, I blew it up eventually.
Yes.
And then we get to the Volvo, and it's like a Sunday, but there's a Volvo station right there, Sweden, okay? So we get to Volvo, and it's like, dude, and the guy goes, don't worry, I already talked to Bjorn. I had no ID, no nothing. You take here's 2 new cars. You have a good day.
Wow.
You talk to Bjorn.
So Bjorn, I mean, is a pretty good guy.
Bjorn's a good guy.
I think you've made an ally with him. But Mexico, you spent a lot of time in Mexico. From what I understand, you run a festival down there. Can you talk a bit about that, what it entails, what you do?
Yeah, I mean, I built a house down there to surf, a little thing with a palapa roof, to surf in case all this, doesn't work out. And I can go down there and drink Tecate for the rest of my life. But anyway, that turned out not to be the plan, because Peter Buck from R.E.M. moved to town. I was driving down the street, and there's Peter Buck. And he's like $1,000, ruffled clothes and stuff, man. And he's metal teeth. And I was like, what is he doing over there? And then John Paul Jones moved to town. And so somehow a music festival started happening through those guys, and Peter started self-financing a thing and bringing drive-by truckers, and Connor Oberst was a hero of ours, and all these guys to this tiny little surf town that we were, my boys would come down and stuff, and Graham had been down, but we were just having friends down and booking the show. Peter blew it out. He did a great thing. And then he got drunk the 5th year and denounced the government in a blackout and got kicked out of the country. Okay. The R.E.M. fans are just so mad at me right now. And then, but they can just stand in the place that they live and just hear me out. And And then Peter stopped doing it. Of course, he figured all that stuff out because he's got dough. And then the guy was like, well, Joe, have Cordovas play and invite a few bands from Nashville. And we did. And then Joan Osborne came, and the guys from Wilco came, and La Santa Cecilia and huge bands came, and Steve Poltz, people that I'm sure are always on this radio station. And so it was a really good time that was kind of easy for us to do,
Develop any new musical relationships down there? Is it like one of those festivals where you just don't know who could show up on stage?
Yes, we obviously needed to prove ourselves, but we want John Paul Jones to jump up there with us. You see him at the cafe. It's epic. Like, hey, dude, I was on Atlantic. He's like, oh yes, good for you. Get the hell away from me.
And then, so you're spending a lot of time there. Are you writing there?
Yes, we wrote our whole record there.
Okay.
The deal with this band 2 years ago, I guess now, right? Okay, was we're gonna have a band. We liked all the guys. Here's our guys. We got our guys set, and it's wintertime in Nashville, and that sucks. Okay, so instead of us you guys coming to the rehearsal place every day and for 3 hours and then driving through the miserable traffic and it's dark at 5 o'clock, and then let's go to Mexico, man, and let's rehearse every day with margaritas in our hands and other things too, beer, and tequila itself.
Wow.
We drink it straight. We're not afraid. We're big boys, and we wrote the whole record down there. Came back to Nashville and recorded it.
Great.
Now we're talking to you.
Well, let's talk a bit more about that. But first, how about a couple more songs?
Okay, let's play one that Johnny sings. It's not on the record. It's called "Give My Love to You."
Ain't too wise, head and knees. Taking interest is a gain in peace. My heart is broken, but love is true. Wanna give all my time, give my love to you. Every day I'm gonna give my love to you. That's what I'm born to do.
I'm gonna go to America soon so I can sing my songs underneath an angel moon with you. I feel like I belong. The wasted time is a friend of yours and mine. Now it's time to go. I will be back here to see you, my friends, and that is all I know. I'm an old boat out on an ocean in the coldest time of the night, drifting along, drifting back home by the moon's light. I was in my garden watching how she grows, and the mountains was changing colors, the dust and desert rose, and I can't get her attention. I can't put a thought in her head. Now she won't even hear me screaming. Oh, any old thing I said, Lord, Lord. I'm an old boat down on an ocean in the coldest time of the night, drifting along, drifting back home by the moon's light. Get you one now. Well, a smile from the woman who loves you, that is all that a man should need, because everything else is easy if you ain't afraid, big boy. I'm an old boat out on an ocean in the coldest time of the night, drifting along, drifting back home by the moon's light.
We're live and direct with Cordovas today on WYEP, playing a show at Club Cafe tonight. And Cordovas are a band that Rolling Stone magazine thinks that we should know about, which is pretty cool. Congratulations on that. Obviously, it's not the cover yet, but I mean, it's still got to feel good, right?
I mean, is it really necessary to tell everybody that? They didn't know. They didn't know, you know.
They might have.
They even gave us a thing that made it look like it was the cover, like a special version of the article, you know.
Yeah, guess your moms all have that hanging up at home. That's pretty cool. Have you noticed any changes just in general about the whole band after that came out? Bigger crowds, better venues, more respect in the industry, anything like that?
Yeah, to be honest, we played in Indiana at sort of this house concert, and there's this couple that drove 2.5 hours just to go see us, and there's like a 25-year-old couple, and they saw us on that Rolling Stone article. So that's an immediate thing that I thought was really cool. That it had the power to make these music lovers drive out.
And another thing is, people were probably going down the thing and they heard our cowboy music and turned it off, but they probably heard our name Cordovas, and then they saw it in Rolling Stone, and it all adds up to something. I think we're seeing bigger crowds, which makes sense because when you don't promote your shows, sing in tune, have a set list, show up on time, bring the piano inside, then people don't like your show.
But I bet a lot of people come into that and maybe they're not expecting that looseness and end up really latching onto it, because I mean the energy coming from the stage is infectious.
Thank you. That's a very nice remark. I think there's a certain, we're not trying to get, it's not John Mayer, or maybe he's a bad example. We're not trying to get liked by everybody. We're not trying anything except for actually to make ourselves kind of like playing. That's it. And so much of what we're doing is improvised and is based on how we feel that day and how everybody's kind of hitting it. And I think, why wouldn't you play that way if you could? You know?
Glad you answered my first question. Appreciate that. And you got more people showing up to these shows, and they're hearing what you've been doing, but I'm sure they're also hearing some new tunes as well. And you mentioned a record. What's going on with that? I mean, it's written, recorded. What now?
It was written, recorded, and set to be released, by our own label. And we went, we got invited to New York to play for a major, and they liked it. And so we're just, we have insane demands, Cadillacs for each person, which must be delivered to each of our homes the day after execution of the contract. Basic rock and roll, God, requests.
Standard rich and famous contract.
Oh, God, they're going to give us $10 and we're going to like it.
I mean, obviously it's a little tougher for them because this little 4-piece is now a 5-piece. You want to introduce your new member here?
Yeah, this is Toby. This is Toby Weaver. He's from Charlotte, where I grew up. We grew up about we grew up about 200 yards from each other, so we've known each other our whole lives. And he's actually from Pennsylvania, but they moved down there, after everything's cleared up with the Civil War, and it was a couple hundred years and stuff. And then I don't even know what that means. And so we've actually was the beginning in my mind for the original Cordovas lineup, Toby, John, and I. And that was that harmony that we were working on. And then Toby had to leave the band because his wife made him. And then
boy, this guy.
We're
jokes
going.
And jokes.
And now he's here, and we'll leave it at that. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Don't dare derive an ounce of cruelty out of that. Sometimes it's just not meant to be.
Yeah, I mean, I keep reading this line about Cordovas being described as, quote, the sound of brotherhood. A few voices sharing a feeling. And I think it makes sense to me, but what does it mean to you?
I mean, we travel, we live together, we fight together, we talk about everything, we unravel each other, we play music together. There you go. I mean,
it has to be in there, I would think. You can't be like in an argument. I remember like my mom, you're like, God, kill the kids, clean the thing. Hello, this is Marlena. We can't flip it on like that because it's cheating, my man. We were just talking about the dead. I can't cheat, my man. John's brother, he knows what we're up to. We might be able to cheat. We'd like to do a show with a bunch of like bells and whistles and tricks that can trick people the first time, but you're not going to believe it the second time, and that means something to us. Mm-hmm. We depend on and lean on how we feel.
And I think it means something to the audience as well. I mean, it feels like you all are very close when we watch you play. The way you can communicate non-verbally, just musically, give the glance, get what you're looking for. I mean, it's just incredible to watch.
You said it. That's our philosophy. We feel like the reason why the DJs are beating the hell out of the bands is because their show is better, and I think we need to break away. Some of the rock bands break away from so much of how they look, how the hair looks, and work on making a show. Remember, show business. It's got to be a show because people are so tempted to pick their cell phone out of their pocket, and it's not their fault. I think it's just natural. So let's give them something that's exciting. And as far as the way we transition between songs, we got a cue for everything, and it's pretty much this.
For those listening on the radio, it's basically just a blank dead stare. These guys are good. Well, you can get a taste of that live Cordovas feeling tonight at Club Cafe. The band will be there. But how about another song for us on the radio?
Okay. Did you ever think of me when you're driving up the street? I want to know how you're doing. I want to know is you complete in the glory of your morning. That is where I want to be. But I ain't gonna beg no more. You won't even talk to me anymore. Dream to you in Mexico, waiting for you in sea. Thought of you rolling over that mighty Mississippi. I don't blame you for needing to leave. Baby, we were just too stoned, and now you won't even talk to me anymore. You won't even talk to me anymore. Are you okay? Is it something that I never gave you a chance to say? Come back today. I know you know how to find my door. Well, ain't you lost in your head? Ain't you living too fast? Ain't you losing the battle now that I can help you make it past? Oh, ain't you howling hungry? Ain't you got something to confess? I just wanna know what for, and you won't even talk to me anymore. You don't even talk to me anymore. You won't even talk to me anymore.
Leaving you in Mexico and you in Tennessee.
All right. We were hoping you'd stretch it out just a little bit. It's Cordovas live and direct on WYEP, playing a show at Club Cafe this evening. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
Great.